Welcome to As It Is Below a Welcome to As It Is Below a Brindlewood Bay actual play campaign from Looking for Mom ttrpg. We are shouting out cold noodle dishes in a hot summer, my beloved. I did not discuss this with them beforehand, but when I wrote these notes, I was like really deep in the bowl of cold noodles, and it was great. Delicious. Today, we are casting a look through the little magnifying glass back at our campaign. 28 action-packed episodes where we saw these fantastic, lovely players completing a hell of a Brindlewood Bay experience, diving into bittersweet tales of life and loss and cosmic uncertainty. There were explosions, there were gun wounds, there were yodeling, and so much more. There were yodeling, there was Sasquatch yelling. Excuse me, let me be correct. Attempted polycules and so much more. We have taken a little well-deserved break. We are recording this about 2 months after we recorded our final 28th episode. And now we're going to take a look back together at the campaign, at the mechanics, at our time, because we spent over a year recording it. But before we get into all of that sweet, sweet, sweet rose-colored glass reminiscing, who do we have at the table, and who did you play in the campaign?
Hi, I'm Vasni, and I played Marina.
Hello, I'm Megan, and I played Violet.
Hey, I'm Anjali. I played Taya.
And I'm Sydney, and I played all of the other people and creatures of this plane and not. Each of our mavens and the players behind them told a mind-boggling, crazy, awesome story of their maven's growth throughout the campaign. And we, as a table ourselves, also had growth throughout the campaign. I mentioned it earlier. From tip to tail, from inception to completion, we spent about 15 months on this project, with just over a year of that in the recording phase. And that's a long time. It's a long time to spend crafting a narrative and watching it unfold. You know, we didn't start with an idea of how we would end. But for each of you, and correct me if I'm mistaken, I don't believe any of you had played a long-form carved from Brindlewood game before. But you all certainly know how to tell a story, and that's what this game is about. So how this is going to work today is I've got less than 10 questions for us to reflect on our time. And if we think of more as a group, then we'll ask them. It is also, for those of you at home, we're already slapstick, like wild, so buckle up. We're going to break these questions into two sections. Questions about the system itself, so about Carved from Brindlewood as a system from the Gauntlet RPG publishing arm, and then Brindlewood as a game. And then the second half is going to be about like characters and story and plot. Sound good? You guys can't see it, but I put thumbs up and then my pinky slid out for absolutely no reason whatsoever. Sound good? Wonderful. Okay, so I should have put these in a better order. Let's start with like what did you think about the mechanics of this game? You know, this is a game that's powered by the apocalypse. It uses 2d6. We had lots of little fun things at our disposal, like Maven moves and crowns and the Gold Crown mystery move and all that sort of stuff. So what did you like? What was your favorite? What took a little bit to get your training wheels off on? And this literally any one of you can go. I have no established order, so free for all. Early bird gets the answer worm.
I love an answer worm.
Okay, early bird.
Yeah.
Ooh. I think for sure one of my favorite mechanics, and my number one favorite mechanic was like the paint the scene questions, and just getting like those kind of questions that allow you to make things canon in the game, and like from things like from just what the room looks like to that there's a Bigfoot polycule even though that one never came to fruition, but that's okay. But just how we get to shape the narrative as we go. I think I really, really love that. And it's stuff that I like to incorporate even like when running systems that don't have that mechanic, because I feel like it's so cool.
Yeah, I agree. I think similarly in the same-ish sort of vein, like one of my favorite mechanics is the crowns and being able to like I like when we get to sort of work what's happening in the scene into the crowns and like getting a flashback into our Maven's lives, get a little like sneak peek into what happens outside of the game, outside of the mystery, which is really fun. And then getting to like shift the narrative a little bit, get a little bit of control as well. I think it's super fun.
Yes.
Absolutely. It's also nice that it's such an easy system to learn. Like, I mean, all of our character stuff was on a single page Google Doc form that everything was right there, easy to look at and like understand, but at the same time, you people use this simple game to just like break my heart so many times.
Right?
Like you can lean into that like creepy drama aspect of this so much, and it's so good.
Yeah. I think for me as a GM, like watching you guys tangle yourselves and your plot lines within this system, I have to say, out of all of the mechanics, the crowns, I believe, are pretty much always my favorite. With the Crown of the Queen, it gives you a prompt, but we also utilized prompts on our Crowns of the Void that aren't a part of the game, like printed on paper, but a lot of people do, and it really enjoyed sort of handing those reins over and be like, all right, time to tell me something even more fucked up than what's currently going on in the campaign, and watching you guys be like, yeah, all right, bet, here we go.
Yep.
I think in particular there was one within Squatcher's Step, which is a sweeps week. We had a very special Crown of the Cryptid in that game, and in sweeps week mysteries, you guys all answer the same prompt, which is not the case with any other crown. And so watching you each take the same prompt into different directions. In particular, it was the crown that we put on when Marina was caught up in the net, the Sasquatch trap. And you were putting on a crown to, not be stuck up there forever, basically. I just remember sitting back and being like, yeah, this is awesome. I can't wait to edit these and put all the creepy sounds behind it because you guys were just going ham. And another place you guys went really ham is the theorize mechanic, which is one of the main things that sets this system apart from other mystery systems and encountering mysteries within the tabletop game. So for viewers at home who are like, it's been 2 months since I've watched you theorize and I haven't done a single Card from Brindlewood thing else since. First of all, there's so many cool things out there. Go watch them. Go Google it. I'll help you. Type in google.com and then type in Card from Brindlewood and go to YouTube and just see. Just see. But the theories, you guys take these clues you find, and then I don't know the ending of these mysteries. There's no ending on the 2 sheets of paper, maybe 3 I have for a mystery. That is something that is completely born out of your brains and is very, very different from something like Monster of the Week or Dungeons and Dragons, where sometimes we're, as game leaders, we're like, all right, how can I get them to put the pieces together to get to the end point? Here, there's no end point. I'm giving you the pieces, and we're like, all right, build it, give it back to me. So you've all experienced other systems before where this wasn't the case. Walk me through your feelings around theorize, either like at the beginning and trying to conceptualize it, or by the end, or what you found hard, what you found easy, that sort of stuff.
It might be one of my favorite parts of this game.
Yeah.
I played a few games before this with Sid as keeper, and in the first game I was like, wait, I just get to put this together and like in whatever way I want to, and have that moment of the boards in front of you connect all the red string and put everything together. I love that so much. Like, it was so fun getting to just come up with the wildest theories.
And boy, did we.
Right? Like, and I feel like part of me wants a clip of like all the theorized back to back, because I feel like they just got more and more out of hand as we went along with this, and we're just gonna jump off the deep end and we're just gonna keep going.
Yeah.
And that's how it goes. That's how every campaign of this ran goes. Like, once you realize the power you have as players and theorize, it's like, so we can make them supernatural ex-lovers is what you're telling me. And I'm like, I'm not forbidding it.
Yeah. And
we love a scorned lover.
Love a scorned lover. One of my regrets was that we had tech issues with our very first. It was nice to have like an episode that wasn't fully recorded, but we had tech issues with our like technically our first mystery for this one. But a point of pride was that we put together a theorize that took out two horrible NPCs that Sydney played so well. And in the end, we rolled really well, and we were able to, in one fell swoop, just take both of them out, and it was just fantastic.
Love to see it. So good.
It was so good.
Void.
Yeah. Never happened again, but the one time was just so good.
And even a mixed result is pretty juicy. You guys had, hopefully anyone watching this has watched the campaign and we're not spoiling things, but there was one in particular that allowed me to set up kind of one of our big midwives at the end of Dead Man's Hand, where we had one of you guys were pinning two people, and then we got a mixed success, and one of them confessed to everything, allowing the other to walk free and then further be a nuisance right up until the end.
Oh yeah.
So good.
So good. Yeah, the full successes, the mixed success, and the failures, though devastating, are so good. Like, any way you roll it, it's just pure cinema. And love it.
Yeah. Also, I will say I love watching like both of your guys' brains turning, because I can see it while we're like theorizing. I just see the cogs going. And also, like, I don't know, I think I struggled a little bit at first with theorizing. I love it as a mechanic, especially now, but initially I was like, oh man, this is wild and a little difficult, especially when it's like the three of us. But this group in particular is just so, like, everyone's so kind and gives space for people to like jump in with ideas, and then like Sid is so open to literally every idea we have and is willing to work with the craziest things we come up with. Yeah, so it really made that experience like so special, and I love theorizing now. It's so good.
Yes.
Yeah, I found it running it for the first time outside of this campaign. And the first campaign I ran really tough initially, because I thought that as a GM, I need to sit completely back and make like that 40 minutes or less of theorizing is entirely player led. And then I mentioned that in the Gauntlet Discord server, and someone's like, you mean you don't chime in with, well, what about this or X, Y, and Z? And I was like, that's allowed? I can be in the conversation too. And that totally changed it for me. I think with Theorize, for players across all the games that I've ran, I've found that if they come in expecting it to be like mysteries in other games, it can be tough, because it kind of feels like, so we're just picking someone and pinning it on them, which is one way to look at it, but it's more so, I think, like uncovering and deciding what is a theory that we think could work here, and what story does that paint. Because one of the mechanics or like thoughts about this game is that we are kind of television writers in a room together, pitching ideas and making an episode. This is built off of, it's supposed to be inspired by Murder, She Wrote, which is incredibly episodic. And in that case, it's kind of like, Angelina, like you said, we're kind of all getting together and being like, well, what do you think about this? Or maybe this, or what if both of them secretly a third option, and pitching ideas around. Another thing, because I love talking about theorize, that this system I think gets rid of is that moment where you have as a DM where you're like, I accidentally included a red herring, and now my players have spent 40 minutes investigating something that has turned them completely off from everything else I need to lead them to. In this game, there are no red herrings. Like, unless you all decide a clue is a red herring yourselves in your theory, every clue is potentially plausible for your theorize to point you to whoever you think had the most motive and did this thing. So there's no wasted clue, right? There's no clue I can give you that isn't potentially super helpful. And then if you guys decide, well, actually these keys were circumstantially in this guy's pocket because of X, Y, and Z, then great, that's a part of your theory. It's still being used, but it really alleviates that, like, oh no, they spent a lot of time investigating this one room that I didn't even have on the map because I didn't think about it, and they asked and I bullshitted something, and now we're here. Thing that can happen to me sometimes in other games that I run. So for that reason, Theorize, we thank you. Jason Cordova, we thank you. This game, I think, gives you as players a lot of agency between crowns, the gold crown mystery move, making your own moves with the occult move, cozy little place, things like that. I just lost my place in my questions. That's fine. What was that experience like? Because when we make our characters, like you said, Megan, it's just kind of one page of stuff, and then you're given a lot of control within the game to decide what you do and when you take conditions and when you'd rather forge ahead. So what was that experience like for you all?
I don't know. I think it was something that for me, I, in the beginning, feel like I used some crowns really quickly. And then I was like, oh no, nobody else is using crowns. I can't do this. So I think as a player, it's a great thing. But when you don't know how long the campaign is going to be, I know they're in the middle, like, when things started going downhill, I was like, oh no, I gotta hold on to some of these crowns. I gotta let more bad things happen because this is getting a little rough.
It's a delicate dance, yeah.
But it's so good though to be able to just like, actually, that was a really bad thing. I would really just love to, not have it be that bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I kind of, when taking Crowns of the Void especially, I kind of played it for, like, if the moment was, like, perfect for that Crown of the Void, of, like, perfectly traumatic or something that was, like, really gonna, like, impact Marina in a certain way, I'm like, oh no, this would be a Crown of the Void moment for sure. And something that would be a bit more lasting and would have, like, that kind of effect on her. And I think with Conditions versus Crown of the Queen, kind of the same, but more of like, do I really want to take a condition right now? Am I like getting a little filled up? Should I? I think it was a bit more loose there than with Crown of the Void, because those are a bit more lasting.
Yeah, you held on to some conditions for a long time throughout the game. Pway Ball was there for a good chunk of the game. Me too. I also love Pway Ball. So good. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think it took me a second to like really utilize crowns and conditions because I was still trying to like find out Taya's character a little bit into the campaign, but then as soon as it like everything started clicking, it was like such a fun way to add to her story. And then also just like getting to see how it like affects everybody. Like I know Violet had like such good conditions that like really hurt. And it was, oh, chef's kiss.
One thing I regret, anybody here listening who's doing a Brindlewood Bay campaign, like I have some of them in my notes, but I wish I could go back and watch. I don't know that we always said them out loud though, but I wish I had a list of all of the conditions over the whole game. Because there were a lot of conditions.
You can go back through the Google Excel sheet history and view all the versions and see edits. So you can go grab those. It'll just take a little bit of time.
A time that's not right now, because there were some good ones. Like
she looked like me.
Am I?
Yeah,
she?
Am I? She
looked like me.
All
like,
of those
riffs off of those. Like,
and what a so good.
Ooh, if it's okay, I have a crown-based question that this just made me think of. For my other players, did you guys like think about your answers to questions ahead of time, or did you come up with all of them on the spot?
So I came up with mine on the spot.
You're better than I am. I had some like in mind, like in my brain, I was like, okay, I want this so that I could have Taya feel this way. But then when it comes to it, I'm like, oh, I forgot everything. Yeah. And then it's just
I think like if I had planned it, I would have been too focused on, okay, what did I plan so that I can say it perfectly like how I planned it, and I would just like get a block. So whenever it came up, then I had like the panic of like, okay, I'm gonna have to just like say a thing, and whatever comes out of my mouth is what it is.
Though I did have a moment where I was like, dang it, I wish I had used this specific crown. I mean, I think I did use it towards the end, but there was like one moment where we were all recuperating and drinking tea, and like Taya and Marina were having a moment, and I wish I had used a crown, specifically the crown of the queen question that was like the one that you used, Vasni, for the pebble throw. I was gonna use that same one in that scenario. I can't remember what it's called. I think it was
the burgeoning romance.
Yeah, and I was
that was
like,
my favorite one that I used.
Exactly. And I was gonna describe like just every like soft little detail, and then I can't remember what I did. I think I just took the condition.
See, I only had one that I came up ahead of time, and that was the one where I had decided, I was like in the car talking to my husband about the game, and that was where I was like, oh, I've got a good one. And that was the one where I came up with that they called Phoenix.
That was so good
ahead of time, because I was thinking about it and I was like, okay, this is gonna be emotionally devastating, because I was like, how can I make this hit the hardest? I was like, what if it was like the day that they like adopted like their, one of their other children, like, and she has this full meltdown of like, I don't even know what to call them, and I literally was making myself cry.
And then you made us cry.
Yeah, no regrets. But yeah, that was the only one. Like other times there would be like ponderings, but nothing concrete. That was the only one that I like was like, okay, the next time I need a crown that this would work in, this is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. And with crowns too, something that it wasn't necessarily a departure from traditional play, but there is an option within the book, and other people do this, where they take the crown in the moment, and then at the end of the session they narrate the flashback, like it's the very last thing instead of within the moment of the fiction. And we pretty much never did that. I don't think we did it once. And for that, like even though like that can help with crown anxiety for being like as a player of like, okay, well now I have some time to think about what this might be, you guys are all such wonderful improv like queens that getting in there and be like, all right, we're gonna, we have 2 minutes where I'm establishing an order, and then I'm gonna ask you, and then you guys were just full sent in the moment. And we also had the benefit of playing with the alternative crowns of the queen. Shout out to Andrea Rick, or Andrea. I don't know which way you prefer, so I said both of them. catcurious.itch.io/alternative crowns that really expand sort of the crowns of the queen and give a more, I think, inclusive look at what prompts mavens can pull from outside of the original game ones. And then we had the void prompts, which were questions that I just thought of, and I was like, yeah, this hurts, let me ask them this.
Yeah.
And then we went on. For crowns, I think there was nothing more satisfying as a GM than, or as a keeper, than sort of sitting back and just like handing it over and being like, all right, like this is your spotlight in your moment now, to take command of the narrative, not only mechanically but emotionally, and hold those reins as a player, which was lovely.
Yeah. Well, and one thing, shout out to Sid for being a great keeper, but one thing that was really nice as a player in this game was if I knew if I had an idea that didn't fit any of the crowns, but like fit the spirit of it, so was hurting people's feelings, I knew it was okay. Like for the Phoenix one, I literally just typed things that make you cry because the crown, because I was like, this isn't like a perfect fit for like some of the ones here, so it's the spirit of it.
Yeah.
He was like, please, by all means.
Please turn those knives in all of our chests a little more. We would love it. We're kind of towing the line between mechanics and character story, so we're going to switch over into that other half of it now. Because, man, these mavens, they just need help. So I've got 4, I'm sure I'll have more questions, but I have 4 written questions. The first one is arguably the meanest one I could ask you, which is to pick one word to describe your maven's journey. This is your penance for the Squatch Your Step polycule.
How dare you?
It didn't even happen.
That's tough.
One word to describe your maven's journey.
I'm gonna stop thinking because I had a word come to mind, and instead of overthinking it, I think for Violet that word is closure.
Oh.
Yeah. Yep.
From
Hurts.
17 to 68. She did not know what happened.
I think for Taya, it would be forgiveness.
Yeah.
Yeah. In all senses of the word, just like forgiving herself, forgiving like the things that she did and the people around her, and hopefully everyone forgiving her for what she's done as well.
Yeah.
I think for Marina, it would kind of be like release. Because I think she was very much, even though like trying to live her life, trying to be as free and out there as she could, I think she was still being like held back by the guilt that she felt of wanting that. And now just gets to be with Taya and have a good old time. And is free from all the nonsense of the cults.
From all the extenuating circumstances. Speaking of sort of the cult and the campaign as a whole, I'm gonna ask about maybe specific mystery stuff in a moment, but think about the whole journey here. what surprised you? What were you like, fuck yeah about? Like what stuck to your ribs still now 2 months later from this campaign?
Boy, where to begin? I think the first one for me has to be like that Phoenix moment. Sydney, you little brain goblin. I will never get over that reaction and the full body gasp that exited my body when you drop that piece of information.
Yeah. Yeah. When I wrote that into my backstory, I had no idea how you were going to use it against me. And from the get-go, like, I had picked the fox molder from the get-go, and like was like, oh yeah, it'll be like, I was anticipating it being one of the other NPCs that we had met and interacted with, like, and you know, they would pop up. I'm also gonna be real, I also didn't think that hard about it because I was like, it's fine. Like, I'm not gonna find out about this till later, it's okay. And then in that moment I was just like, oh my god, so good,
So juicy.
yeah.
I love that one. I agree. That one was so good.
So good.
I feel like also just like the brutality of the cult was crazy. Like, and it didn't hit until like the explosion and Isaac dying. Spoilers, sorry.
Isaac.
And then losing so many people that we like adored. That really hit me hard.
Jam Jar Robin?
Jam Jar Robin's heart.
The heart?
Yeah, to go from Violet and Taya being silly in the car, like, to, you know, lightning striking and just like, you know, Marina being sitting there with JJ Robin's heart, like, ugh.
Tragic.
Crazy.
And also, just Dalrymple's whole thing.
Yes.
And the ending,
Carolyn.
gutted. And oh god, just George not like getting out, but like, is it better to get out and be like a little boy in like a grown man's body, not having experienced his entire lifetime? And just like, oh, so many conflicting things, and it's just, oh, tragic.
You know what? And yeah, now that I think of it, we took out 2 NPCs in the very first mystery, and then Sid took 2 NPCs that we hated from the get-go and turned it around. So I see what you did there.
Wow. Yeah.
I had to protect them. I was like, if you guys keep hating them, you're gonna blame them for, you're gonna pin them in a theory.
Yeah,
I need these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Because between like Dalrymple and Caroline, I could impart so much information about Brindlewood Bay, like physically the realm you are in from Dalrymple, and then psychologically, like kind of what is going on with the void and this other realm with Miss Greenleaf, that I could tug at you guys with both. From like, you know, you guys arguing with Dalrymple earlier on and him trying to explain like, I need you guys to not get involved because you're making it harder for me to do what I'm trying to do, and then like learning what it is he's trying to do on the side throughout all of that, versus Carolyn, who literally, she was in our first mystery and you guys were like, I think her and Taya hated each other. And then to bring it back with like young Carolyn giving like this invite in the woods and knowing all of these touch points with Carolyn specifically about, oh, like something, she's just as much of a, both of them, they're actually just as much victims as the 3 of you were, and many now dead people of this like nefarious plot. Like everyone is in the Bay is impacted, and to be able to take those 2 people and, use them against you and then with you by the end was one of my favorite joys.
Yes.
For sure. And then yeah, the Phoenix reveal, and then to be able to afterwards to be like, here are all of the things that led up to this reveal, and now you can like look back at each interaction with the Fox Mulder move with the other side that like I knew the whole time but couldn't say anything about.
Oof.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Oh yeah, the fact that you made a point, because I think it even says like, yeah, I think it even says in the move like the actual conversation happens off screen. The fact that you chose to like, oh well, we're gonna have a few conversations.
We're gonna have a little bit tail ends, bookends.
Yeah, put a little tidbit in there. Made it so much better for in my opinion, as a player, for the final reveal that there were these moments like, and Violet being like, your cheese hat looks like,
and the birdhouse and
birdhouse. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think back at characters we kind of brought through with us, because there are a lot of characters that we kind of just met once and then they were gone, right? But there are definitely a lot from really your first two mysteries that carried on through the rest of the campaign. We had, you know, Danny and Mariah and Corinne, all from Dead Man's Hand, which is the second mystery. From that first mystery, Petra, Brad, Carolyn, who continued to be these through points that I could kind of reiterate. This is a small town. Like, even though we're meeting a bunch of other people all the time, like, you're still running into Petra because she works 6 jobs, and you're still trying to figure out if that's Danny's rental car or her real car. And then this plot with Danny and JJ kind of interwoven throughout as well. You know, JJ being an officer and then her losing her job and then you guys seeing her in a different job. I didn't do that in my first campaign of Brindlewood Bay, and it was one of my biggest regrets of that campaign, is that I didn't create that feeling that like this was a small town. And so one of the things, I'm kind of answering the question before I ask it, but like, I'm so glad that I could nail that for you guys and bring these people through over and over and over again, so that I could, like, you know, I get to play a lot of characters, but they only have these little vignettes. So how do I use them as plot devices, right? But then make them compelling 3D people in the world, like Sheriff Dalrymple or Carolyn or Danny, and watch them change just like you guys are all changing as a result of what's going on. Oh, my voice literally almost left on that sentence. So
okay, voice.
It's July, we gotta stop.
Okay,
Thinking about mysteries, and we played through a lot of stories of these individual deaths and sometimes double deaths. And for our very first one, we know we played Who Let the Dogs Out, which is third party, and it wasn't really recorded, but we still had a great time. We did Homecoming at Bonfire Cliff and Dead Man's Hand, which come from Nephews in Peril. We played the Freezer Section of Murder, which is like in the unofficial Brindlewood Bay Mysteries Volume 3, written by Jonah Knight. Squatch Your Step by Michael Van Vliet. Murder Most Foul by Amanda Mullins. To Make a Monster by yours truly. All the way, you know, heading into our Void mystery, Dead as a Dodo. That was a lot of mystery titles. I'm going to ask you to pick a favorite that isn't the Void mystery. Because that's kind of a culmination of the other ones. Like, literally, it makes you take clues from other mysteries. So, excluding Dead as a Dodo, what was your favorite mystery and why?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, do you want? You could go first if you want.
I was just gonna say, immediately it's between To Make a Monster and Squatch Your Step for me.
Yeah,
like immediately.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. Like, Squatch was like, it was so. I mean, I feel bad. I feel biased because it really was like Taya's mystery.
It was so good though. Like,
It's so
It's
good.
so fun. But I also love it just because like of our crazy theorize, and it was our biggest like fail. And I think that was
Mhm.
like so impactful. And like we
Yes.
had to work through that and work around it, and it added so much texture to all of our stories. Like it was just so cool. And then to make a monster was like an extra bump to everything. There was just so much and so much hurt, and also all these like scenes that you made up, Sid, that were just heartbreaking and disgusting and wonderful and scary all at the same time. Like
The puppet.
yeah,
The
oh,
puppet.
the puppet. Listen, Sydney.
I still have nightmares about her.
She plagues me.
How dare you, first
Yeah.
of all, and then second of all, how dare you?
Yeah, my
But, like,
sleep
in the
paralysis
best way.
monster.
God, the meat insides will forever be like, oh my god.
Destiny?
Yes to both of those. They were iconic, beautiful, like so many really like pivotal moments happened in both of them. Like oh gosh, just so many. The first time we took Octane was in
Was in Squatch.
Squatch, and I mean that one lasted like 8 episodes. So we had so many great characters come from that. Nikki Naff and Big Steve. Chef's kiss all around. And then yeah, to make a monster, so many good juicy moments. Like that first time that we get to see like some conflict between like Taya and Marina, and just, and I think more Octane at some point. um but I also really liked Murder Most Foul. I'll add that one to the mix, because we got to see Murray, and we also got to see Carolyn's kind of mental demise. And I don't remember, is that the first time that we got to use Blanc? We also got Blanc from Squatch, but
We got Blunk from Squatch, and then
Yeah.
it was you. I mean, that was the next mystery, so it would have been the next time it was used. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and then we got the Dodo in that one. That was a really good one. Yeah.
Yeah. Murder Most Foul was, for me, I think maybe the most pivotal one, because it was the real sort of turn into like, we had fun supernatural with Bigfoot, and now we have like, oh, the world is ending supernatural. We got the first real scenes with the dodo. We like finished up grabbing stuff about the Whateleys. It was, I like had you guys split for a lot of the time, or even when you were together, you were like psychologically apart. We had, you know, JJ's death in that one. So I think coming out of Squatch, I had a real goal to, when we were at the right layer, I think we were just unlocking like layer 4 in that mystery, where I was like, all right, like I need to turn on the jets here, and move us away from like, oh, is there a serial killer? Or, which I know you all didn't think because you know the game, but for the storytelling purposes, like, oh, there is this actual like real fucked up entity on the other side, and getting the first real glimpse at what the midwives are trying to do, in the lengths, the more gruesome lengths they're going to go to. Like, killing people is not enough, because we saw it with Carolyn. Like, Carolyn is alive, and she's going through arguably the worst time of her entire life, to the point where she wants it all to stop, and they would continue to do that if they had the chance, right? It was so fun to see you guys play a mystery that I wrote, and then immediately go like, okay, so there's about 6 things I want to tighten up in here. But to write it for you all as well, and to try to think of like, what will you as players really enjoy, like a fucked up boy band and cheese sculptures, and the getting your fortunes. But then it turned out, like, because it was Madison and because we had this reveal, like the fortune booth was incredibly tense, because we were at that point in the mystery. I would say, oh gosh, it's really hard for me to pick favorites. A Murder Most Foul was my favorite to GM, and I think Homecoming was my favorite to watch you all in because we were all so new. It was the first time that, like, with Hannah and Violet, that episode is when I had the idea that, oh, this is going to be Phoenix. Like, this is going to be the person who looks like you, running around in these woods, and like thought of it and could execute it and knew, like, well, shit, I've got months until I can reveal this. But like, you played the time slippage so well, Megan, and then the mannequins came from that, and that was such a huge part of everything. And then, like, the Brad antagonism, like the lengths Taya was going to try to help Brad, but also get at whatever is in his backpack. And we were just still kind of finding ourselves there, but it was so fun. And it, you know, as these games go, just really kind of set up a lot of things that I didn't know I was setting up until we were, you know, 4 episodes down the line. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah. God, that's such an unfair question too, because, like,
it's hard to pick.
It's hard to pick, and it's hard because, like, for me, like, I feel like Squatch was where we had really hit our stride by then. We figured out what we were doing, and because the premise was sweeps week, I feel like that gave us all a little bit of permission as players to just go hard, like, go just full out and just see what happened. And god damn, Angeli in that game, just, god, the way you played Taya was so good.
Destroyed.
Just, like, watching you, absolutely devastated. Like, just,
it was so hard to fight with you. I need you to know that.
Which is so funny because you fight with me in every campaign.
And every time it's so hard for me. I need you to know.
It's hard for me,
like,
too.
Y'all do it so well, though. Like, it was so good. Just hitting the, so good. So good.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, Squatch.
Yes. I know. And
that was great.
For me as a player, then, also, like, coming up with Blunk was a great moment. Because that was
iconic.
Megan's just being silly. Violet's on Octane. Of course I'm gonna asynchronously blink black. And you were like, oh, are you? Let's roll about.
Let's use a new mechanic. And we also give a hoot from completing that mystery. So that's one of the rewards. It became a move that then you all used as well.
Yeah.
So we owe a lot to the 6 sessions of Squatch.
We do.
Agreed. I mean, it was like truly when a lot of, I mean, we were doing a lot of, like, character relationship building, like, up to Squatch, but I feel like that's where it, like, really hit the stride. Like, Taya and Violet were, like, bestieing it up, like, during all of it, and, like, Violet getting to, like, watch both Taya and Marina doing things, but being oblivious, but also catching things. Like, that was really fun to watch that dynamic happening.
Loved it.
Yeah. And then can we talk about Marina's amazing pebble throw?
Iconic. I loved it. Yes.
Insane.
And the smooch.
And that's
it. Yeah. Like, oh, well, I'll just, like, you're already doing something insane, and you're just like, yeah, well, Marina will just kiss her in this moment too, and it's like,
no, I don't. Yeah, I think it was when she threw it, and then
threw it
like,
into his shoe.
Yeah, into his shoe,
into his boot while he was on a motorcycle driving away.
And then I rolled badly, and I was like, oh, I know exactly what crown I'm gonna use to make this work, and just, like, milk it for the drama and the romantic moment.
That was so iconic.
It was so good. Like,
well, that's what he gets for being a little shit to you.
Yeah.
Hey, that little shit came back and protected you all.
That's true.
Yeah. Violet wrote that check so you could cash it, because I'm pretty sure she threatened him earlier, and that's how her and T-Bone, like, kind of became friends, because Violet was, like, basically like, listen, you fuck with Taya and I'll kill you. And Marina was like, I can do something like that.
Yeah,
Oh,
I could
you
put
guys were
Pebble in his
threatening
shoe.
Yeah.
so many werewolves. Just every
Okay.
werewolf you came across, you're like, I'm actually gonna threaten you first.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is a horrible life choice. People in real life, if you meet a werewolf, don't threaten them first.
Don't do
not,
it.
We're
Yeah,
not
tell him to
advising
sit,
that.
maybe.
But no, and speaking of moments, that is one of the dumbest things I've ever done, that you made it pay off in the end, and like I loved that so much as a player. Like to just take, like, you just put that and I'm like, no, okay, you're gonna hint at this. My character's taking this and running with it because I love a bit and I
We love a
love
bit.
being stupid about things. So you combined my two favorite things.
Yeah,
So
And then
maximize
made
the
it
stupidness.
Yeah.
Oh, exactly.
Yes.
It really was like such a stupid moment, and I loved it. It was
The
such
whole
hijinks.
thing. We just kept running into her, and Violet was like, "You're a werewolf, I know it." Like, I have basically no proof, but I know you're a werewolf. And then you two with the whole like sit, like,
Ooh.
That was crazy.
Insane choices all around in Squatch. Let me tell you.
Love it.
yeah. Play it for yourselves. Tell us how it goes.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, get in the comments.
Get in the comments.
Oh goodness. Well, even in 28 sessions, there were things that we did not accomplish. And plot points I did not wrap up. The main one being anti-Taya. Like, we did not resolve anti-Taya by the time we've really finished filming. And that's just one of the things. So now, as I look back at, literally my notes earlier today from the last session, and it was like, wow, so many words I didn't say as I was prepping. What do you wish you all would have done or could have done that we didn't get to? Besides punch anti-Taya.
I know, I wanted to punch her so bad.
I know. I'm so sad I didn't give you that opportunity, that I just did not remember it at the end. Because I wanted you to have that. You did get to punch someone else.
That's true. I mean, this is like a personal note for myself. Like, I wish I had gotten a chance to have Taya have a better resolution with Francine. Like, wait, yeah. I was like, I even forgot her name for a second.
That's how bad the date was.
It was really bad, but it was also such a fun scene to play.
Yeah.
I wish Taya had gotten that sort of closure, but it's okay. It was still fun.
The cult got to her.
Yeah.
That was such a tense date. Like, once the two of you realized that you wanted different things, it got direct and tense in a way that none of the rest of your conversations had really been, because up until that point, it's like, we're just talking.
Yeah. So casual, you know. But that was a fun scene too, though. That, like, I loved it.
Yeah. I remember in the middle of that role play just sort of realizing of like, oh, Francine not on drugs in this moment. You know, like, women, as you get older, you know, you become more like, I know what I want and I know what I like and I know what I don't like and X, Y, and Z. And I remember playing her, thinking about how she would react to what you were saying. And like, you guys don't have presumably like a ton of mortal years left. And so it's like her frustration at you not knowing because she knew, and your like unwillingness, or Taya's unwillingness to spend time thinking about it and to slow down and think about it, which is something that we then saw you do throughout the rest of the campaign, was start to slow down and think about it. But that date was so like, just kind of like foreshadow of all of the things why Francine became upset and emotional about. We then saw those exact things like you start to do and figure out. But of course, like, Francine wasn't the right person to be figuring those out with, because she wasn't like empathetic and patient enough. for Taya to like grow that way.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, so good.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mm.
Too bad the cult got to her though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You win some,
Ew.
you lose some. What can you do? What can you do?
Yeah.
We do.
I think for Marina, I know she would have wanted to like do better by like George, and wish that he could have had like his childhood, of which I know something that like she would carry for like forever, that she couldn't like save this kid and like all of that. I think I want to know what was up with Laszlo.
Oh my god.
The Laszlo B plot just kept evolving.
What was his deal?
Yes.
Why was he lying?
Yeah, because I really think that like, okay, so in Squatch, he went missing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then he was the second, because of the failed theorize, he was like the second person to go missing. Champlin Bellows was the first, and then Laszlo.
Yes.
And then,
Yeah.
you know, he was there trying to raise money for his band, and then his band came in and we're like, we don't know who that guy is. And then we get another band, and they're like, yeah, our old bandmate, Laszlo.
Yeah.
Which none of those things, literally nothing about what happened to Laszlo at any point was canon in any of those pages. The only canon thing was that he was trying to raise money for his band. And that's it. That's literally so
That was
I think the first band being like, oh, we don't know that. We don't know who that person is, was me being like, okay, well, how can we leave with some intrigue as well? Like leave this place of mystery with still mystery that isn't necessarily bad, like because he's a stranger to you all, but is just kind of there. Like the world around you continues to spin and things are inexplicable, especially in like something that's Bigfoot related. And I didn't put two and two together because To Make a Monster had already well been written by this point. And then when we came back to it and there was another band, my brain just like lit up and I was like, oh, this is the band that had Laszlo. And yes, he absolutely went missing and no one knows where he is. And I hope he's living his best life.
Yeah. Maybe in a polycule?
It's hard to put a
maybe
label
the
on things.
Bigfoot.
Yeah,
polygon.
for sure.
Bigfoot
Yeah.
polycule.
But yeah,
Good.
shout out to a real one, Laszlo.
Yeah.
God, yeah, that was so good. like,
Yeah.
oh god, yeah.
The George regret is very well placed. It is, I mean, that's the same regret that we saw Violet talk Dalrymple down from. Like, he is already gone. There wasn't really ever a reality through normal means in which George was going to get his life back exactly as he departed it. It was always going to be something incredibly tragic, one way or another. Yeah.
That was, yeah. Oof. No, and God, you mentioned that scene, and I definitely feel like Violet felt like a hypocrite when she was talking George down. Because on one hand, like, her child lost part of her life, but on the other hand, like, she's incredibly grateful to have her back and to have any part of her, you know, getting to know her at all at that point, and her being the one to interact with Wyman and like talk him down from like there's nothing we can do. Like, I definitely was like, she's feeling like a little bit of a hypocrite right now, because she's telling him there's nothing they could do, but she also got her daughter back, at least a little bit. So
Yeah.
That's so good. My heart hurts so hard.
Different circumstances in that moment. If the cult had been successful, yes, George's spirit would have come through, tethered to the dodo forever as like this giant monstrosity, versus Violet getting Phoenix back because there was like a 1-to-1 trade and someone else had to go in, which meant Phoenix had to come out, was like a much safer like a way of doing it. And yeah, she still lost years off her life and was brainwashed for the next several. But that it's such a complex feeling for Violet to hold in that moment as like Wyman is losing it.
Why, I think for her too, like why, I mean, she's grateful for this, but like, you know, I'm sure to her it felt like a roll of the dice that it was George and not Phoenix. Like it ended up being George who was stuck, but like, I mean, it didn't feel like there was anything special about him that like he was the one that had to be that person. You know what I mean? Like if things had been just a little bit different, timing just a little bit off, I mean, she easily could have been the one in Dalrymple's shoes in that moment.
Yeah.
So like, yeah.
You're right on the money. There was nothing special about George. That there was no like predisposition of like George has to go in here. It was he was in the wrong place at the wrong time and was taken advantage of.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like there's no he doesn't have spirit connections or anything like Marina. He just was out there.
Yeah.
That's how fucking devious this cult is. Anything else we wish we could have done? They're like, what happened with that thing?
This thing is not like a big serious one. I just wish we got more of Marina's sister because I really adored her. And also more scenes with Violet and her husband because that was the cutest thing. Yeah, I wanted more of that.
Yes.
I think, yeah, there are a lot of little things. Like in hindsight, it's at the end of any long game like this. There are lots of little things that I look back and like wish that I had, but like you don't know where you're gonna end up. So like there's lots of little details that like I wish I had like put in more. Like the Corvid Chronicles thing that like she actually was writing like a whole series. Like I wish that I had leaned into that a little bit more and stuff like that. And I know there's other strands that I have thought of, but now that you've asked the question, I'm like, wow. I have a whole notebook. Did any of this happen?
Yeah.
I know there are things you guys put in your initial, questions I had you answer that didn't make it in or changed. Initially, there were 2 missing kids or like 2 estranged children in this campaign. And so there's a version of my notes about these like people who have gone missing that had both those children on there. And then it quickly became, we ended up with like a different final 5. And at one point that list was like 9 people long as I was trying to figure out what the cult is doing. Because that's one of the things with this game that like as a keeper, you are constantly iterating and reiterating what the midwives are doing and what their goal is and what they're trying to summon between mysteries. Like every mystery, you go back to the dark conspiracy sheet and you're like, all right, who from this mystery do I think continues on as a part of the cult? And does their inclusion now change what's going on? And do they present a really different way? Like we saw with Hudson Finch. Hudson was one way with you all, and then when he met with Marina one-on-one, he was much more like he was dismissive of you all initially and kind of like, he's just I'm working, it's fine or whatever. He wasn't outright rude, and then it was like he was toying with Marina, and we got to see this whole other side, but toying in a way where he was still being as sincere as possible, like going from not really giving a shit about you guys to the most intense one-on-one experience. And yeah, I mean, like at the beginning I didn't know what the end was going to be, so but there are really great guidelines for writing it. So if you ever run this game, don't be stressed about not knowing how it'll end. There are guidelines for running the Void Mystery. There's a whole dark conspiracy sheet. Like again, you come back every mystery and kind of reevaluate what's going on and who's involved. And what then you focus on or reveal in the next mystery.
I think I do have a question.
Me too. You go
And okay.
Yeah, well, I'm done with my questions, so by all means.
Off of that conversation still, I was flipping through my notebook and I was like, I know I have questions like about things that happen. And I don't know, just cut this part if this is a stupid question and I just spaced. So what happened with Stripes? Because Stripes and Spots, because like nobody remembered them, which is different from all the other missing people. And I don't think we never got that resolution, right?
Stripes and Spots, what happened? Let me pull up my Trello board, but I'm pretty sure the one with the memory loss, which is Stripes, who's like the one who was in the grocery store with you all.
Yeah.
He was the only adult they tried to send through. And so the complication with him is that it did not go well because he wasn't a child. And between that explosion sort of reactivated some of the stuff that was fucked up. He was already having memory slippage and it wasn't that bad at that point, but with the events that had happened then with the grocery store, it sort of tipped him over the edge. So like Carolyn, he had this sort of traumatic experience with the portals where he had been out. They tried to send him in because the portal, like the one in the fen, is not that far away from the grocery store. And yeah, then his memory loss was basically complete. He like could not remember that Spots was his kid. So all the things you saw him do, like shopping for his, his kid at college, was correct, but he couldn't. I think I remember him telling you guys, like, or at some point, maybe even Spots telling you, or like, oh, I wasn't away at college. Like, I go to X, Y, or Z, or maybe I was away and I didn't go to community college here. There was some like discrepancy with Spots as well, which also was a touch point too. Stripes' memory is fucked, but yeah, we never got the reason. You guys never got the reason why in game, which was he was the only adult they tried it on besides Corinne, who can go in and out at will. Everyone else who had been put in was put through the portal to like the void had been a child when it happened initially.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that, like, yeah, I feel like that for Violet as a character, like, just, having this, father who was taking care of their kid, like, and then he got shot, so, like, he wasn't gonna be able to do that, and, like, Isaac passed in that was,
it was a rough go for Stripes.
it was a rough go for Stripes for sure. And I feel like Violet was definitely having some own personal character struggle with that.
Yeah. And that was one of those things where like I narrated that he, I wanted something at the end besides, I guess, the building exploding and Isaac dying to really sort of paint the picture of like even the most mundane people. Like Stripes is literally as like normal as you can get, besides his name, are like irreversibly impacted. And so giving you that like that secondary mystery, and then I had to go back and be like, well shit, why does he not remember, and try to figure out. And that was like what was going back to the dark conspiracy in my list of missing people, or people who have died, and thinking, okay, well I've got 4 or 5 kids and this one adult, and that could be the reason why he's messed up. And then like with Carolyn only halfway went through. And she also had long-lasting mental effects afterwards because going through it all fully would also give you long-lasting mental effects, as we saw. But Carolyn and Stripes both kind of endured the same thing on different levels. Yeah, great question.
Crazy.
Forgot about him.
So good. I have 2 questions now. I don't know if I said that already.
Sure.
My first one is a little silly because I don't think I had followed it enough, like throughout the campaign and in my brain. But like Corinne was in charge of the ninth step. Was that like connected to the cult? Like, was that a thing? Okay.
It's kind of like a front for it, where like Corinne and Mariah are really kind of foils of one another. Corinne has kind of everything Mariah wants, in terms of like youth and conviction and supernatural connection, naturally as a result of her family's research. And Mariah has what Corinne needs, which is experience and the do it for the greater goodism. Right? So they both kind of brought out the worst in one another. But yeah, Corinne, the ninth step was a real business, a real sort of coaching area, but it quickly became, because of her involvement with Mariah and, you know, her knowledge about the magic and the ley lines in the portal, having gone through herself as a child, and this real partnership between them also quickly became kind of a recruitment center of like, if we can get people turned on to the ninth step and they're enjoying it, well, it's much easier than to isolate them and sell the most passionate, zealot, needy people at the ninth step into the, you know, the actual ninth step, the like what the supernatural, because they're already predisposed based off of what they're experiencing at that coaching business. Yeah, so it became involved, but initially, if Corinne and Mariah had never really met, I don't think either one of them would have been as successful in doing what they were trying to do. But they wanted the same thing in different ways, which I think is what Phoenix said. Like they want the same outcome, which is to bridge these two worlds. Whereas Corinne saw it more as fulfilling her family legacy and exploring this ley line magic connection with these creatures and beings that are far more powerful than us on Earth, and maybe learning from them. Mariah exploited that as like, this is a way for me to maintain control over this area that my family's had control over a long time, and finally have the power to execute the exact changes I need. And whereas like, yeah, Corinne was trying to like bring the dodo, like bring him home, you know, as he was trying to like come back to this plane. And Mariah was basically trying to enslave the dodo, or trade power for power, to remake Brindlewood Bay and the wider world in whatever image they wanted.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, because I remember like very early on, I remember like Marina getting really close to Corinne, and then I, as a player, was like, I want to know what's up with the ninth step. I knew like Taya in her head, she's like, I don't care. Like, this doesn't make any sense, and I'm not gonna get into this business. So yeah, I was like really curious about it. So that's really cool.
Yeah. They were pretty different. It was really fun to play the both of them in Dead Man's Hand together. Like watching them interact, where already we got glimpses of Mariah is kind of exerting social control over Corinne in those scenes with Marina. And I wanted Corinne to be really likable. I wanted you all to feel like, oh no, like Mariah's kind of, you know, being a head bitch about things, or like kind of, because the Waitley family is also well known, like sort of sinking her claws into her. And I wanted you to feel bad for Corinne, for sure, because she has an earnestness about her in the way that I played her in this campaign that when you like didn't want to believe initially that she was at all like in control. Whereas Mariah, it was very quickly like, yeah, we fucking hate her. And they ended up equally in control. And kind of by the end, we got these glimpses of seeing exactly how unhinged Corinne was, and her goal in like doing right by all of the mannequins, the other children, knowing exactly what it felt like, but then also trying to like, she's going about an absolutely insane way, because again, she's been really impacted by all of that magic. She's not operating on the same plane that everyone else is.
Crazy.
She's also a victim.
I mean,
Yeah.
I was really curious to see like if Marina was going to have that relationship with Corinne, and then I was like, please, so that we could get into the next step, so we could see it. I want to know. But like, Vasni, were you planning on that at all ever?
I think at some point I was gonna lean into like that connection with Corinne and like go into the ninth step. But then I think like other stuff kind of like maybe that's when the curiosity around like play ball started to happen, or like other stuff and murders and
Yeah, you did go and you did your consultation
yeah, I did that once.
with Corinne, and then you're right. That's sort of right around when we did the freezer section of murder, and the building exploded, and we had the creepy woods and play ball, and that like pivoted, and then Dalrymple was like, everyone get the fuck out of town. So we didn't see Corinne. We didn't see her in that mystery. We didn't see her again really until To Make a Monster, where we saw much more Mariah, and of course the grocery store, she showed up, and then we saw her again and To Make a Monster as well. But we kind of had a brief, like a hiatus from the two of them, because I was like, I need more midwives. I gotta get more people going.
So good.
But yeah,
Crazy.
Who, I guess, not necessarily who, but I don't know. That made me think of the picture. Was the picture that this was, I think, in the Bop Around the Bay, was the picture that Violet got. I think you had described it as like a creepy, like stalking picture of Violet. Do you remember?
I do. You were like finishing up a class at the community center, and you were talking with Petra, and then you got a photo of yourself talking to Petra.
Yeah, and then so was that just like from the midwives? Like, what was the?
Yeah, initially, in the very early on in planning, Brad was going to have a much bigger part after I saw how you all reacted to Brad. And so initially the thought was, when I was like ad-libbing and adding that in that moment, was that like Brad was surveilling, and he was going to be a part of the midwives, and like a major midwife, because he was so about like eco-terrorism and remaking, like treating the earth right. And he had a lot of reason. And he eventually was a part of them, though a much more minor part. But that's what was in my head when I narrated it. But then as it turned, like as we kind of moved away and there were other new major players, and Brad wasn't like a key hitter anymore, then it kind of became like nebulous. So it was always midwives sort of tailing you, trying to scare you into not doing what you're doing. And asking questions and getting deeper. And initially it was Brad, and then it kind of became any one of them.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Great question. Yeah, the initial first stinger of like someone looking you guys up on the computer was when I narrated it Brad, and then became Sheriff Dalrymple. Once we had more reveals about him, because then it became not antagonistic anymore.
Yeah.
Which is Brad's drag name.
Antagonism. Yeah.
So
good.
What other questions are you guys sitting with?
I've got a new question, but I've talked enough. Ask me if you'd like to ask a question.
I'll ask kind of like a general question for the crowd. Because I think as we're talking about like all of these NPCs, I loved every single one of them, and we got to watch so many of
baby
them
girl
grow. Yes. I think the question kind of is like, who would you like to like see like a spin-off like vignette of, or kind of like that show. Like a spin-off show, and like where would you like to see their life have been? Like
easy, Amelia.
Yo.
For her new start and what she's doing.
I love her. I loved playing her.
I hope she's doing well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so sad for her to be like getting roped in at the end. It was like,
And she didn't
no.
understand it, right?
Yeah, she was just like, yeah, like this is fine. And
Oh,
what was the? I'm
just
trying to
so
find.
many.
Yeah, the first one that came to mind was uh Taya's biker friends. Did they have a
Yes,
group name? I'm like
yeah,
Yes, they
the
do have a group
hardcore
name, the
the
Hardcore.
hardcore. There we go. Okay, I
slash
did
the
not remember
werewolves.
the hardcore werewolves. Yes, just I think that would be with the way you played those characters and those like dynamics. I think that would be
Yes.
like, and then with adding the werewolf element later, that
Oh
it was
yeah.
not just Nikki Knapp was a werewolf, but all of them were werewolves. I would absolutely watch that show.
Oh, HBO Max, call me.
Yeah.
We have an alternate reality where JJ isn't dead, and it's just like day in the life vignettes of
Yeah.
her and Danny messily getting their
Yes.
relationship back together.
I
That
love
one.
it.
And Hannah.
And Madison.
Oh,
In a world where Madison isn't evil.
Yeah.
I think she just liked the magic of it. She's like anti-establishment enough and like had enough connections and the land her family owns, and this is a way for her to keep Hannah here. And man, everyone needs therapy.
Petra. I just want to see a day of Petra doing 5,000 jobs.
Can we do like her and Amelia? Because I feel like they were getting to be friends like towards the end a little, yeah. Amelia with her newts and Petra doing her 5,000 jobs, and then meeting up for coffee.
That's my favorite bit in a game is be like, what's one NPC I can make show up everywhere because they're just grinding it out capitalism style. So fun.
So good.
And I want to see Chedgar on. Oh yeah, Big Steve.
Big Steve
for sure. Miss Brianna Cracker on RuPaul's, please.
Yes.
Yes, make it happen.
Yes, we need to see it.
It'd be so good.
I love it.
And I think also I want to see Phoenix adjusting to a life not dictated by a cult. Like adjusting to two wonderful parents whose banter is everything, and little granny friends and siblings and nieces and nephews and a bird and just like this wonderful, beautiful, cozy life.
You know how we could make that worse though?
It's worse than that.
It's worse than that actually. So this ended up like there was so much happening, and it like Violet already had enough of a spotlight, but part of me, if we were getting like a lot messier in this game and we kind of had like even more like inner character drama and like personal NPCs, part of me wishes, because all I wrote down about Phoenix's dad that it was Violet's high school sweetheart.
Ooh.
And that yeah, but like part of me was like, ooh, what if I had fleshed him out a little bit, and what if he ended up in Brindlewood Bay too?
Oh, get out of town!
That could have been so messy. And so the reason I thought of this, because I was like, oh, what if Violet felt obligated to like? I don't think she actually did, because I think part of her is like, you're the worst. Like, she didn't like him then. He didn't care about what happened. But part of me is like, oh, what if Violet decided to be a good person and track him down and tell him about this? And I'm like,
honorable mention person, Manhattan Marge from Squatch Your Step. I want her to do a podcast.
Yes.
It would be way better than, oh shoot, what was her name's podcast? In Squatch Your Step.
Yes.
Oh, Gert.
Gert.
Like, respectfully, but she wasn't into the Ghost Raven.
I think Gert needs to be the third in the like the Petra Amelia like young adult trio.
That would be cute.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marge is fantastic.
Marge.
Man.
Wonderful.
Love.
God, I love our notes on the NPCs.
Same.
Like, it's like a nice
probably not bribable.
Probably.
Asshat, can't remember.
Angry looking,
What?
frowning.
Man BO, but like dead. That was a good one.
Wow.
It's excellent.
Freaky nerd.
I think you should release these, Sid, as a PDF.
Yeah. This makes me want to, in every single game I run of everything, set up a Google Sheets like this with the pictures, because like I would love to see like what my players in games think about NPCs, and flipping back through them is so good.
So fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like why did we make a note that Craig Manchego pulled a muscle stretching? It was important enough that it had to get written down.
We wrote down that Scarlett Snell was a bad driver.
Piggybacking off of the NPC stuff, I know we all had like incredible interactions with a lot of the NPCs. What do you guys think is your favorite interaction with which NPC? And then same goes with Sydney, like which NPC Maven?
I'll pick one for each of you because I can't just pick one.
Pick your favorite.
Choose your fighter.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll percolate. I'll write some stuff down. But you guys can go first.
That's tough.
I know, it's really tough. But the one that triggered it for me was probably Taya's early conversation with Petra. I think that was really fun. And I wish that I had Taya like talk to her more throughout the campaign, but it's fine. And it doesn't have to be a sweet interaction. Could be a crazy one like Carolyn farting all over the place. And
that one was so good. The like crop dusting, the like leaving the fart in the room was a wild decision.
Incredible.
Oh, too good.
I think one of my favorites was the first interaction with the dodo, of like friend or foe, and then immediately like the creepy voice switch and like that one was really, really good.
Oh, the dodo, my beloved.
Yeah,
that was good.
And of course, any interaction with Violet and Gavin, I was like, let me just sit back and get giddy about these two.
Part of me wants to just say Murray.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
He's a good bird.
Everyone's interactions with Murray.
Yes.
Like, it was so cute. Oh my god. And honorable mention to, I'm just leaning into my character right now. Honorable mention to the Ghost Raven.
Accurate.
Because I was being ridiculous. I didn't think that was actually going to become a part of the game. I just thought that was going to be like a bit that I ran with. And Sid said, oh no, wait, I can do that. Because literally in my questionnaire, what was the question? Because it was a really good question. It was, oh, come on. What do they live for this age, if anything? And obviously I was like, okay, well, Sid already knows she wants to find her missing child. Like that's a whole big important thing. So I'm gonna go silly with this. And I was like, she's trying to find the Brindlewood Bay ghost raven. Like, and
it's been there the whole time.
Yeah, it was though, and it became like a whole thing, and it was so good. Like,
I think the really sweet part about questions like that and then playing them out over a campaign is that I get to know and then see exactly what you really care about as far as your game experience. And so like, yeah, finding missing kid, can put that in there. But then like taking this thing that you wrote and be like, well, this is what Violet lives for. I absolutely want to give you opportunities to engage and learn more and like have that be a subplot because it's going to be fun for you. It's going to be fun for me. And then if it progresses from subplot to main plot, wonderful. But if not, then it's just a really nice subplot that we both got to enjoy and that I know enhances your game experience. So ask your players questions. Do it.
Yeah. It was a good time.
So good.
Yeah, that was great.
All right, Angeline.
Yes.
What NPC interaction?
I already said it. I'm waiting for yours.
Oh shit. You said Petra. That's right.
Yeah, Petra.
It's hard to pick. I think for Taya's interaction with Carolyn during Murder Most Foul, because already Taya, you were like isolated away from the other mavens, and you had these experiences, and then to play around in that space of like you and Carolyn are not that different actually, and she is trying to warn you, but you're different enough that you cannot see eye to eye. Even now, decades later, you're still at odds with one another. And of course, she was wrong about a lot of other things. But it was really cool to see how both Taya and Carolyn expressed concern for the other one, despite literally never agreeing and arguing in that scene. It was like a camaraderie between like neighbors, people who live in the same town, who've experienced a lot of similar outside things, that even like you're not enemies. You don't like each other, but you're not enemies. Like you both were trying to help each other, or like use each other to like kind of help yourselves, or at least move a needle forward somewhere. And it was an incredibly rewarding scene.
Oh, so good.
For one, Carolyn's progression, then I also think for like seeing more of Taya outside of Taya's relationships.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah.
Agreed. It was such a good like piece of her arc, I think, and it was a good like, I don't know, not cap to her and Carolyn's relationship, but it was like so telling. It was so good.
Yeah, incredible. It was maybe one of my most favorite parts of that mystery. Besides you then picking up the dodo eye and then talking to the dodo. For Violet, it's hard to pick one interaction with Sheriff Dalrymple, but Sheriff Dalrymple and Violet, what foils for each other, like in the end you kind of are both doing the same thing, and their progression was really lovely of again, not enemies but not necessarily friendly, to intimately understanding exactly the pain each other are going through. And that scene at the end where it's Violet telling Wyman what he needs to hear, what no one else can tell him, and he won't believe anyone else because you are the only person who actually acutely understands it. Was it for his arc was the most rewarding part. And it was really fun to build that all the way through, changing you guys from like Sheriff Poopy Pants, which I think is what Taya called him, and literally like trying to get away and around and foil his work, to Violet was the only person courageous enough to say those things to Wyman in his absolute complete breakdown. So I think out of 1,000 many beautiful scenes of role playing with you, Megan, that one with Wyman, just I often think about it as like some of the best emotional like end pieces that I've ever experienced in play. It's one of the highlights of the campaign for sure. Like once a week I think about that scene.
It was such a fun and traumatic bit to do with you, like with those characters, like because it just like she got what she wanted, and all she wanted was, she knew she couldn't make it okay, but all she wanted to do was, George was gone, we couldn't do anything for George, but we could try to keep keep Wyman. We had already lost all of these, and to have that relationship turn around and like
there are so many Violet Wyman parallels of like Violet at her computer and Wyman out at the memorial stone, like both still investigating their mysteries.
that was so good.
Yeah, love those fools. Oh gosh, for Marina, I wrote down 2, and I still don't know between the 2 of them. If I'm going like overall arc, like Marina and an NPC repeatedly, it's Marina and George all day long. Marina, the scene where you first really interact with George and he doesn't know where he is and is trying to play baseball, and the nuance and care, even though Marina is also like in a space where like you don't know what's going on. It's your first real visit to sort of the void that George is finding himself in, and the repeated interactions. You're checking on him, listening in, trying to seance your way back to George. When I think about Marina literally never stopped being a caretaker. Like, yes, you found release throughout this campaign, but Marina has such a big heart that even this ghost kid in another dimension that you can't do anything for, you will try to play baseball with and figure out what's going on and continue to risk like do crazy things to get back to that place to see what's going on. I think it highlighted a lot about Marina's internal character every single time we saw her with George, singularly. Just the care, the worry. And then when I think about the one over, like similar to Taya and Carolyn in Murder Most Foul, or Sheriff Dalrymple and Violet in Dead as a Dodo. Also in Dead as a Dodo, the scene with Phoenix and Marina. I'm probably gonna have to take it to therapy. So impactful for, I think, for Phoenix to hear what Marina had to say, and for Phoenix to be able to share to Marina, I should be mad. And for Marina, someone who also should be mad, to like give wisdom in that moment and hold space. And again, caretake a child in your eyes, once more, who has absolutely been like fucked up by everything that's going on. But I remember coming out of that scene of like, well, I'm glad this is recorded so I can screen cap it for my therapist, Donna, so she can see it, because it's just incredibly impactful role play. And I think it's really moving, and it's still moving for just even reflecting on it, of like the space you can give characters or yourself when you should be mad, but instead it's all of these other things. And as a quasi, like, I don't know if I would say what I was in was a cult, but cult-like behaviors, oppressive regime stuff, as a survivor of that myself, and like having this scene as Phoenix with you as Marina, and exploring what that's like for people, that anger sometimes is the next to last thing you feel, because there's so many other things there first. It's so ingrained and codependent and like tightly wound, that Marina just sort of like, all right, let me make you food, let's sit down, you're allowed to feel what you feel. So good, all of you, so good. I could spend another hour just being like, in this scene, and then this scene, and then this one, and this one, but we're already at 2 hours. Great question, Angeli. Those are the things, those 3 scenes are the ones that I continually think about 2 months now down the line, having not rewatched it after editing it still, that I carry with me as like, wow, like how wonderful that we got to have those moments, and how cool and how lucky to like have the relationships that we do and the safe space that we do to navigate around all those things and portray them. And yeah, it's not overnight. It's a year in the making. Those were all late game scenes. It took time. We had to cook to get there.
Incredible.
What a ride.
I have one last question. I'm sorry.
Yeah, don't be sorry.
Really quick, and it's stupid, but
Ooh, I love it.
I love it.
I remember very, very early in the campaign, we went into that lake, the pond, and like Aya almost got sucked in, and like Marina and Violet jumped in after her. What,
Yeah.
Sydney, if I said I will continue to dive down, because that sounds like something I would do, especially as Taya, what would have happened? Like, did you already have, like, at that point, I can't remember at what point we had done it, but at that point, did you already have a plan of like, okay, this is like a portal that can do this?
I knew it was some sort of conduit because I think I'd already narrated a scene, or maybe it was in that same episode but just after as the stinger, where we see like Corinne move between the two of them, the one at the fen and the one at the quarry. And so I don't know if that happened before or after, but I knew already that it was some sort of portal. The dodo didn't exist at that point. And my theory about adults going through really didn't exist at that point at all either. So in that moment, had you continued to press through, I think those like tendrils would have tried to like hold you there, and tried to kill you, or at least like maybe pull you through, and hold you hostage or like drain life force. Those are probably the things I would have thought of at that time. I wasn't keen on maybe you doing that. I wanted a little danger, but then I wanted you guys to kind of get out of there because I knew I was coming back to it in my stinger. Or maybe I'd already, if that stinger happened before, I had already focused on that area and wanted to eliminate something else. But yeah, the dodo didn't exist yet. The like all of the late game like dark conspiracy stuff, none of that was a thought yet. So I probably would have just tried to kill you a little bit.
Amazing, iconic.
Yeah, which I did try to kill you in other episodes. So
yeah, got shot quite a few times.
Like a lot.
Everyone kind of had their own different like trauma, like because Taya jumps to action a lot, we had a lot of like vitality based things, so you had like a lot of physical stuff go wrong. Whereas Marina, we had some more like supernatural conditions for you, and that's where I felt like I could really turn the needle a lot, or like turn the knife as it were. Like those were your gunshots. Or seeing Taya get shot, that was a good one. And then for Violet, it was like every time I could bring up something about your family, those were your gunshots. So you each had your own brand of, this is the thing that fucks me up the most, which is why I didn't go around shooting everyone, because for Taya, that's a lot more impactful. Like losing your vitality, which is your like getting disadvantage in your best score, is much more impactful than disadvantage in your worst, because you're not aiming to use that one all the time.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I have one more question.
Sure.
Kind of in mentioning Bonfire Cliff and bringing it like a little full circle, that was where we started our croon tradition, and our croon wishes with the pebbles. And I know that we've talked about this amongst ourselves, but just as a reminder, what was everyone's croon wish, and did it come true?
Honestly, I forgot mine.
Stop.
I was sitting here thankful, like, thank God I didn't make a croon wish, because I wouldn't remember.
What was it?
I'll give you a minute to ponder, because mine was pretty easy at that point. I think don't tell me if I'm wrong about this. I think I might have even like alluded to it at that point, because at that point you guys didn't know about Phoenix, and I think I talked something about like one of her like greatest regrets or something. So I think once she moved there and learned about the tradition, I mean, it had to be looking for Phoenix, and I think it was kind of, it wasn't necessarily a super straightforward wish. It was like that, you know, she hoped that they were okay. She hoped that they had had a good life, and, you know, kind of her last, and I think she would have phrased it almost as like a selfish wish at that point, but like she just wanted to know what happened to them, and if she could meet them. Like that was like the secret wish at like the end of the secret wish, that like she's like, okay, first I'm gonna do the good part, the like main part of the wish, and I'm gonna hope that they had a great life, but like the secret end was that like she wanted to meet them and, you know get to know them.
Cute. So good. Also, I found it in my notes.
Thanks.
Yes.
So I do remember. Man, looking back at this, I was like, wow, angsty Taya. But she wished for the perfect woman, which she achieved and then lost it, and so she stopped throwing rocks years ago.
Ooh.
Yeah, but if she was gonna rehash the wish, you know?
Yeah.
Can I
She
hold on?
achieved it again.
I'm so sorry. I was gonna say, did Taya, after her and Marina like got together, got married, did she start making croon wishes again?
I think maybe she would have made just one. And I think it would have been to, like, she wished to like, you know, not mess this up and like make Marina happy forever. Like, that's probably her wish.
That's really sweet.
Yeah. And then she would stop. She'd be like, okay, I've achieved it. Everything is fine.
What about Marina's wish?
I know at that point I also like just alluded to it, but it was to see Ryan again in a dream, because she hadn't seen him since his death.
And we did it.
And we did it.
And I didn't plan it.
Okay. And we did it.
Oh, the scene with Ryan too.
That was one of my favorites too. Wow.
That was so good.
Wow, prophetic, because I didn't go back. I mean, like, I edited that episode, but obviously it was the first one I edited, so I didn't recall that. But yeah.
Wow, that was a good question.
That was a good question. Well, I think we're at the end of our rope. We talked about all the things. Most of the things.
Yeah, most of the things.
Most of the things.
It was a delight to play this campaign with all of you. Thank you so much.
A gift.
Yes. Uno reverse. Same.
Yeah.
Insert shock Pikachu here.
Yes.
Yep. Oh man. Well, as it is below, it is below with you.
We had to get it right. There's a few times.
We tried.